At 2 this morning, after being loose for 6 days, Bundy was captured by Pitkin County officers Maureen Higgins and Gene Flatt. But they weren't looking for Bundy. They were on a routine investigation.
I noted a vehicle driving erratically about an eighth of a mile east of Aspen on Highway 82. We observed this vehicle for a matter of seconds, and I turned around and pursued it, contacted it, and found Mr. Bundy driving it.
Did you recognize him right away?
It took about 2 glances. He was pretty altered. His appearance had been altered by glasses and a minor growth of beard.
Actually, he was pretty dopey. I think he was pretty tired. He was cooperative in that he pretended to search for his license when we asked for it, and he wasn't aggressive toward us in any way.
Did he say where he was heading?
He did not.
He just stated he was going to leave the valley if possible.
Bundy was brought into court this morning.
Hi, Ted. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Here.
He had lost about 15 pounds. His body was scratched. He injured his knee while mountain climbing. He was exhausted, disoriented. Judge George Lohr advised him of additional charges: escape, second-degree burglary, misdemeanor theft, and a felony theft. If convicted of these charges alone, Bundy could spend 90 years in prison. Bundy gazed around the room as the judge spoke to him. Officers say Bundy was very talkative this morning when apprehended. He told all about his escape. Police say after he fled the courtroom last Tuesday, Bundy headed for the hills southwest of Aspen.
My name is Floyd E. Flatt. I was a deputy sheriff in Pitkin County, Colorado. I considered Ted Bundy capable of anything. He had a personality that was, he could make somebody drop their guard real easy if they didn't know him.
Do you think about getting out of here?
Well, legally, sure. I swear to God, every man in that prison at one time or another thinks about going, wishes he wasn't there, and wishes he could fly over those fences. I've dreamed about flying over those fences. I've dreamed about climbing over those fences and tunneling under those fences. With every other man in there, I've dreamed about being free.
He was sharp. You couldn't put anything over on him. He liked to play games where he'd make us look like fools, like he was dealing with inferiors. Just simple, low-life, country bumpkin deputies. I didn't personally like him. I thought he was a cockroach. I'm sorry, but that's how I viewed him. A charming cockroach.
Theodore Bundy's preliminary hearing begins today for the first-degree murder of Karen Campbell. Mr. Bundy, a law student, has asked to represent himself at trial.
Well, he had used the law library. It was open to any attorney that had to work there, and he got full access to it because he was legally defending himself. We would have a deputy posted in there, and the guy would take smoke breaks. So he would step outside the door and close it and then stand in the doorway. So Bundy wasn't coming through because he was standing there. He didn't consider the windows.
During a court recess, Bundy is given access to the law library on the second floor of the Pitkin County Courthouse. There, the unwatched Bundy opened the window and leapt 2 stories to freedom.
Most people would have broke their legs. It was a long way down, but all he did was sprung his ankle. And he took off, and he was gone. And apparently the deputy finished his cigarette and went back in, and all there was left behind was an open window. I was off duty, and I had my radio with me, and I heard him screaming that Bundy had escaped.
Bundy's loose. I repeat, Bundy's loose.
I was immediately sent to a roadblock, and we stopped everybody that came over the pass and searched thoroughly. We were very, very nervous because having a guy like Bundy loose in your community is like having Frankenstein. I was really fearful that he was hurting people. He had been missing maybe a little bit over 5 days. And we were getting tired, so we started down the mountain. And on the way down, we met a car approaching us, but he came over in our lane a little bit. And just as he got to us, his lights went out completely. So I pulled the vehicle over, and I went up I looked in the car, I shined my light around to see if there's any obvious weapons. And I looked at him, and he had on a hat that was ridiculously small. I mean, he had it pulled down over his face, and most of his skull was visible. I said, "Can you take that off?" And instead of letting him take it off, I just reached in and pulled it off. And I just put my gun next to his head, and I said, "Welcome back, Ted."